Welcome. Today we are starting part 3, where we will uncover the deep mechanisms that shape our psychology. I'll explain that the disturbance in our psychology isn't just about brain chemistry, it's actually about how our brain is coded. The brain doesn't produce psychology simply because of trauma or chemical changes. Psychology is shaped by the way our brain is coded and our sensitivity. Now, let's begin to unravel this mystery together.
Our psychology is not broken, it's our psychiatry that's broken. The brain doesn't produce psychology just because it's sick, has experienced trauma, or has a low serotonin level. The brain produces psychology based on how it is coded and to the extent it is coded. As I've mentioned before, if you code a behavior as sin, that behavior will create a deep sense of guilt in the person.
The same behavior, however, will not produce a significant psychology in individuals who either don't have this sin coding or have a weak coding of it. As we can see, what gives rise to psychology are these codes. What amplifies the psychology that arises is our heightened sensitivity. The coding generates psychology, and the increased sensitivity drives the psychology to its peak. One brings it forth, and the other determines its intensity. If a person is constantly coded as a bad person, our sensitivity towards them will increase. Because of the heightened sensitivity, the effect we experience when we see them will also be stronger. Coding a symptom as a disease, or a change in emotion as a disorder/disease, is the true cause of both the psychology that emerges and its intensification. The industry creates psychologies through coding and increases its customer potential through this coding. The increase in so-called psychological issues, the growing sensitivity to psychology, the spread of psychological fragility, and the decrease in tolerance for psychology in recent years is due to this reason. If these symptoms are present, panic attacks/anxiety/depression. Panic attacks/anxiety/depression equals disorder. Disorder equals disease. When you create this kind of coding, the brain immediately associates disease equals being close to death and begins to produce psychology. Psychology is essentially a response to the perception of underlying illness and, even deeper, to the belief in death itself. It is not a pathology, but rather a protective mechanism designed and activated to safeguard us. We can think of psychology as a kind of air defense system. Whether there is a real threat or an imagined one, the system activates immediately. The actual threat and its perception generate nearly identical psychological responses. Psychology is the product of perceptions shaped by coding and is, in essence, a reaction to the belief in illness. This perspective offers a unique understanding that can lead to entirely different outcomes in both how we view psychology and how we approach problem solving in therapy literature. With this unique psychological model, I have helped thousands of people resolve their issues in their own homes. This silent revolution has also revealed that many so-called truths in this field, such as you can't heal without medication, therapy is essential, you must identify, uncover, and resolve trauma, you need to listen to personal stories, or you must go back to childhood, are nothing more than urban legends. The situation in the West is even worse. I no longer have the slightest doubt that almost everything in the world is designed and controlled by dark and deep structures. This includes medicine, psychiatry, and personal development schools. These mentioned structures are disrupting psychologies through personal development approaches. They also attempt to treat with psychiatry. For instance, you can create dozens of problems with something as simple as a law of attraction ideology. If you code minds this way, when the brain generates a suicidal thought, it might think, oh no, I'm going to attract suicidal actions, leading to even greater fear of that thought. This fear will then cause them to fight with their thoughts, ultimately feeding them through repeated, non-lethal blows. Similarly, a thought about homosexuality might be interpreted as, oh no, I must be turning gay because I attract whatever I think about. This would turn people into constant guardians of their own minds. In every society, certain individuals are made popular and trustworthy in specific fields, and they are elevated. Through their prestige and undeserved fame, masses are manipulated and coded. If a person could rise through effort and success alone, I would have. Those who follow my legendary professional career know this very well. Yet, over the years, Not even a single local media outlet, let alone national ones, has acknowledged it. Everything is controlled, everything is designed, and everything is under threat and danger. The situation in the West seems even worse. However, I used to think of the West as having more conscientious people and more informed societies. I believe I can better explain what I mean with just a few excerpts from 3 or 4 videos. These videos, originally in English with Turkish subtitles, circulate on social media in our country, continuing to code many minds. One of them says, when you wake up today, tell your brain, today is going to be a great day. In this way, brains are made even more sensitive to the ordinary ups and downs of daily life. People are being drawn into unrealistic expectations. A tendency is being introduced as if every day is supposed to be amazing. This creates an excessive sensitivity to the possibility of a day not going wonderfully, leading to a greater impact than expected. Additionally, an erroneous perception is created, suggesting that whether a day goes well depends solely on what we say to ourselves when we wake up. Our minds and focus are subtly being drawn toward our soul and brain. But can the quality of a day truly depend solely on us? After all, one day can go well and another can go poorly. Why should we become so sensitive to such natural, day-to-day fluctuations? When sensitivity increases, so do emotional fragility and susceptibility to external influences. Do you think this is happening by coincidence? Are these people incapable of recognizing such simple things, or is something more deliberate at play? In another video, a cheerful black man speaks. He says, whatever you speak will come to find you, whatever you think will become your reality, and continues, referencing the law of attraction. This implants the idea that if a suicidal thought crosses your mind, you'll attract suicide. If you feel like you're losing your mind, you'll go insane, and if you fear death, you'll invite it. As a result, seeds are sown for becoming more fearful and influenced by thoughts, more sensitive and reactive to emotions. Could this charming man really be so naive as to miss these implications? Is it truly possible for something we think or say to come and find us? How many people have uttered curses, yet how many of those curses actually came true? And how many words with greater power or frequency than a curse exist? In yet another video, someone claims the cause of cancer is negative emotions and obsessions. This reinforces the idea of positive versus negative emotions, creating conditioning against certain emotions and increasing sensitivity toward them. A strong belief is being instilled in people to view certain emotions as negative. If someone perceives an emotion they experience as negative, they will be more affected by it. More importantly, over time, they become excessively sensitive to that emotion. As this sensitivity increases, they are not only affected by experiencing the emotion itself, but even by the possibility of experiencing it. This leads to learning how to worry about worrying, fear, intensify discomfort, and be more influenced by thoughts. In another English video, the speaker says, thoughts have frequencies. Whatever you think becomes your reality. It's claimed that life and the universe will manifest everything we think of because of the frequencies we emit. There's no room for doubt. It's not might, but will. Can such a sweeping generalization be made? Are these well-known individuals whose videos reach our country really making such simple mistakes? Notice, it's not what you think might happen, but what you think will happen. Saying, what you think will happen implies if you think of suicide, you'll commit suicide. If you think about feeling bad, you'll feel bad. If the idea of homosexuality crosses your mind, you'll become homosexual. If thoughts of alienation arise, you'll certainly alienate yourself. Such claims turn people into watchdogs over their own minds and souls. This encourages individuals to attach excessive meaning to their fleeting, temporary states and become overly sensitive to the natural ups and downs of daily emotions and thoughts. As a result, our mental resilience weakens and emotional fragility increases. I often compare personal development trends and nonsense like the law of attraction to the scene in a Kemal Sunal movie where a child breaks a window with a slingshot. Meanwhile, I liken psychiatry and psychology to Kemal Sunal himself appearing instantly around the corner, shouting, "Glass repairman." Natural breakdowns aren't enough. Artificial ways to break are also necessary. It's not always demand that creates supply. Often, supply creates demand. This industry's sole concern is its year-end revenue and perpetually increasing profit margins. Take, for example, the constant suggestion expressed through the question, "How are you feeling?" This implies if you feel good, you're fine. If you feel bad, you're not. When you visit a doctor or psychologist today, the first question you're asked is usually, "How are you feeling?" The underlying coding here is, if I feel good, I'm okay. If I feel bad, I'm not. However, emotions are often irrational and do not reflect reality. A person might feel angelic 1 hour and devilish the next. What could have changed about their true self in that 1 hour? Nothing, only their feelings have shifted. Feelings are like dreams. They don't affect us because they exist. They affect us because we assign meaning to them. Why does feeling bad impact us? Because we believe that feeling bad means we are bad. Who created this belief? The industry. If we internalize the perspective, I feel bad, but that doesn't mean I am bad, why would feeling bad bother us? Could it be that the entire industry doesn't even understand the nature of emotions? Or is it the shadow of those deep, controlling structures lurking over everything? Consider coding like, follow where your heart takes you. Can a heart truly be a reliable guide for where we should go? As the saying goes in Anatolian wisdom, the heart lands on both flowers and filth. Let's take a moment to appreciate how even folk wisdom has solved this matter before returning to our topic. Think positive, suggestions, and codings. Why do I have to constantly think positively? Is everything in life positive, so I must always think positively? Constantly maintaining a positive mindset is difficult and, therefore, unsustainable. This is similar to the trendy notion of staying in the moment. The belief in staying in the moment becomes the biggest obstacle to actually staying in the moment. The brain is thrown into an unnecessary internal conflict. Am I staying in the moment, or am I failing to stay in the moment? This very internal conflict becomes the primary reason one cannot stay in the moment. They deliberately demand things from people that they know are impossible so that people end up saying, "I couldn't do it," and seek clinical help. The think positive mantra works in the same way. It creates an internal conflict of, oh no, it's not working, I can't do it, which again turns people into watchdogs of their own minds over time. Why must I always stay in the moment? Am I being disconnected from my past and future? The industry's cunning tactic is to demand things from us that we cannot achieve. Once people are convinced that they must do something and that it's normal to achieve it, they start striving for it. When they fail, they feel the need to seek professional help. This is how they create the desire for help through such methods. In essence, they produce needs based on perceptions, much like the fashion industry. The coding goes like this: I need to do this, but I can't. Therefore, I must seek support. Dear viewers, we've now completed part 3. Today, we took a deep dive into how our psychology is shaped. We explored how our brains and thoughts are programmed, how our sensitivities are heightened, and the effects these have on our psychological states. Through this exploration, we realized that it's not just chemical changes or trauma, but also how our brains are coded that plays a crucial role. We also saw how industries and popular trends manipulate these codes, guiding people's minds and emotions. We all deserve to question the system and better understand our mental and emotional well-being. With these thoughts in mind, as we wrap up this video, I want to remind you, we can all embark on a journey to rediscover our inner power. But this journey begins with having the right information and properly coding our own minds. Taking control of our own lives is in our hands. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care of yourselves. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can stay updated with new content. Stay tuned.